Well, morning guys, you can see I'm got the truck behind me and I'm here by our homemade tree stand, and this is what we call pushback alley. So if I swing around here, it's an old cut road in amongst the pine trees, and the kudu and the bushbuck love coming through here. This patch that's down here it's unreal how you find game patches like this, and this specific spot down here is where some bushbuck come and they dig their horns in the ground. I don't know what it is. I'd have to find someone who knows a bit more than me why a bushbuck does that. I don't know if he's marking his territory, but I've had trail cameras set up on a number of trees here and I've caught them digging their horns into this patch, turning their horns full of mud. But the reason why we are doing this video, I'm trying to hide out of the wind. I've come and changed the camera because I'm going to be sitting in that bird box somewhere along the line with my old Cape gun to try and hunt my bushbuck and my kudu this year if something comes past here. And that's why I've set up the camera. I want to see what's been moving through here. I haven't had a camera for a while. We've had quite a lot of cattle in here, so we are setting up to get ready for a little bit of hunting this season. So stay tuned for that one. But let's get on to our Stalking Shadow story, and this is season 3, episode 3. And I've told you guys about my experience in the States, and now I came back to South Africa all geared up with lots of hope of getting cracking with my season. And what better way to start off my season is hosting Mike and his dad out. It's a super easy way for me to do all the outfitter stuff, the paperwork, the everything that goes with it, that us PHs were doing at other companies, and the outfitter was just submitting it. We would do all the paperwork for the taxidermy. We'd do our own personal paperwork where it became all the professional hunters licenses and stuff that we had to do for the clients. We'd fill in all the hunting license documentation that they needed, and we'd do the final invoice for them. So you see where I got frustrated with all these outfitters. We were doing 100% of the work. The clients were never meeting the damn outfitters, and they were benefiting the most out of it. So that's why going on my own was the best thing to do for myself, my clients, and hunt the way I want to hunt and do it all myself. It's worth it. So Mike and his dad Stan planned a trip out in February. So I'd left the States at the end of November, came back to sunny South Africa, left you guys in the cold in the winter. I'd had an experience of hunting white-tailed deer, went and sat in the blind with Mike, and it was really cool, something different. And I came back energized and ready to start planning my season. So Mike and them had already booked tickets. He told me when he was coming, and we had beach accommodation down probably 10 kilometers away from our property. So Mark came out this time and he was after a zebra. I really wanted to get him a really, really good warthog. He came out and we were going to sit in the bush pig blind. And then a really nice mountain reedbuck was on the cards. He never got his springbuck on his trip previously, so we were going to go after springbuck. What else was there? Just as we went along, we would see how we would cope. Stan came out and he was after the beast. So we went after red hartebeest, black wildebeest, blue wildebeest with them, and he also would take a mountain reedbuck and a bush pig or whatever if we had the opportunity. So I had to get geared up and get rooms set up. And this is also another thing in the industry where guys don't really know that I've mentioned it a couple times that your tracker is your tracker. He doesn't hunt. When you freelance, he doesn't belong to the company. You rock up there, he's employed by you. So what happens throughout the year, you get guys that get to know trackers really well and build a relationship with them. And what happens is they go with you when you book and they go wherever you freelance. But obviously, when you don't have hunts, that guy's also sitting without work. And what often happens is other company, or not other companies, other PHs take them to hunt. It's the same as you. You go from company to fill in dates. That tracker will hunt with 3-4 different professional hunters if he needs to make a lifestyle, or make money for his family. So my tracker, who had been with me from when I started, it was slightly different. So growing up as a kid, we lived on a farm way back that way where I do a lot of my hunting, and my dad and them sold the farm, and my tracker had grown up on the farm with me. But when we sold the farm and moved to another farm, his father decided to stay on the farm with the new owners. When I became a PH, and word got out I became a PH, he'd been a tracker and tracking for a number of people throughout his thing. I never knew he became a tracker. And he actually came to my dad's place of work. He could find my dad and he said, I want to be Wayne's tracker. And I got there and I was like, Jenny, I know you Mzwabantu. I said, you grew up with us? He says, yeah, we grew up all at Coniston together. And then when we left, he was a little bit older than me, but I was a baby then. We were down the road at Clifton. We were in the same farming community. When we moved farms, we weren't far. And we knew each other. And his dad had worked for my dad. So he became my tracker. And what a hell of a tracker. By far one of the best trackers I've worked with. And Skinner, unbelievable. Took time, patience. He was excellent at skinning. And he was excellent at spotting. He had eyes on him like a hawk. So he hunted through with me for 4 seasons when I was freelancing. And then I told him that we were going into building my business, and I gave him a job here on the farm where we now. He moved here, so he had a constant income, but his passion was hunting. And with all the outfitters dropping me, meant that he was also not getting the hunts that he needed. So he was getting a salary from me and we were working together, but he was subsequently taken by one of the other big companies. And it's a bit of a sad story because I was really upset when he'd left me, but I did understand that he was after the tips. We are very reliant on those tips because it's big money when we convert it in the hunting industry. So all your staff and everything are really reliant on their tips. And he had hunted with me and Mark, and I'd said to Mark, no, his wife's going to be there. He's going to be part of the team. He's still part of the team, everything like that. And then he subsequently up and left me. But the sad part of this story is Zwa went to a very, very big company in the Eastern Cape. I don't want to mention names or anything like that. And he is a hell of a tracker. He wasn't a drunk. He was brilliant. I could, if I could have him back today, I would. But unfortunately, his wife fell ill. And because he was a freelance tracker, he wasn't on the company books, but he was working flat out. When he fell ill, he was just another number. And he ended up back home in town. He unfortunately ended up with diabetes, which wasn't picked up soon enough. And he ended up with tuberculosis. and there was no support. He was left to himself at home, no support from the company that he was with, and he subsequently lost his leg. So there's a guy who was brilliant at his job, no support from the company that he was at, never got him the right medical attention, and he now sits in a wheelchair living on government grants where he could have, it's sad to say, if he'd stuck with me, I would have gone and got him the best medical treatment that I did. I've done it with my last tracker as well, got extremely sick, ended up with TB, ended up with took him to the doctor and gave him the best chance out there to keep him working with thing. We live in Africa, guys, and it's sad that when you just become a number, you just get discarded and someone else comes in. So that's a bit of a sad thing. So I lost my tracker to another big company. And this is just one of the difficult things that you have to deal with being an outfitter and a professional hunter and the industry that you work in, is that things can come and go really quickly. My hunts came, my hunts disappeared. My tracker came, my tracker disappeared. Your clients come, your clients go. It's just the industry that we're in. And people don't realize it. They kind of seem to think they've got a hold on things, and it's not. It's just life. And you got to roll with the punches. And now I'm sitting with new clients, new business. One of my biggest team members in my cog has left and gone to hunt elsewhere. So I managed to get another tracker. I borrowed a tracker from a neighboring property, which I hunted with a couple of times, and he came on the hunt with Mike and Stan. And I remember fetching the guys from the airport, super proud, in my pickup, got my Wayndale Safaris on the side, Wayndale Safaris on my chest. And I always said to the guys, if you ever hunt for a company, hunt for the name that's on your chest and your shirt. And if you're hunting in a group, help each other. You help the company, it helps you, it creates a better environment. The clients come back because of the professional hunters. The clients do not come back because of the outfitter, and I'll stand true to that word every time I talk it. The PH makes the company name. And always remember that. If you are a high quality PH in a company, that's who they come back for, the clients. They don't come back for the whatever Wayndale or African Brothers. They come back for the guy who PH'd them at that company. So always keep that in mind. So I pick up Mark and Stan from the airport. We come back. I hadn't even finished setting up the shooting range properly on the farm. I just had a gong up. And I remember Stan, he's a little man. He brought out his 375 and we set him up there, and he shot the gong and he punched a hole right through the gong with his 375. And he was as happy as Larry, 375 shooting straight. This time around, Mark brought out his 338 and shot brilliantly there. And we went out hunting that afternoon. I think it was afternoon. And Mark and I were stalking, and at this specific hunt, I had my brother come and help me. He also, avid hunter like myself, really, really helped. I had no caterer or anything, so him and I were cooking. He was like our chef for the evening, and he hunted all day with us, and we roughed it. It was a proper hunt. It was no luxury resort that you get there and their chefs and everything like that. We did our own laundry. We helped the guys. We had outside showers at our beach accommodation, but it was comfortable. But we were here for the hunting experience. So that afternoon, I remember going on a stalk. Ryan spotted the mountain reedbuck, and he called me over, and I did a stalk with Mike, and we shot a beautiful mountain reedbuck ram. A really, really creme de la creme. He was 8 inches, absolute beauty. Shot him, and then we headed back home because that was our afternoon. It was the first time back with the guys. Long trip. We had a great feast, and we headed out the next morning for blue wildebeest. So one of the properties that I had available to me to hunt, one of their blue wildebeest bulls broke into another property. So we headed out there with Stan. There were no blue wildebeest on this property. There was one lone bull that we had to look for. And by absolute luck, we found the bull within like 20 minutes of getting there on this massive 14,000 hectare farm. And we found him and we did a stalk. And I remember Stan having a crack at him. It was quite a poke. And he just grazed the bull. But obviously with this now, the bull's not where he's supposed to be. He beelines it. So he goes through a couple of valleys. We managed to get ahead with the pickup. And we get a place where he kind of slows up and he thinks he's out of danger. And I get Stan out on a stalk. We get behind a bush, set him back up on the sticks again. And I'll say, Stan, let him have it. And Stan places the most perfect shot on the shoulder. I think he was shooting a 250 grain bullet out of 375. And that blue wildebeest folded right there, hit the ground. And it was a beaut of a blue wildebeest. I think he was just shy of 30 inches spread. He was a really, really beaut of a bull. I'll post some great pictures here of it. So that was the start of our safari with Mike, Stan. Super comfortable way of getting into the outfitting thing because of the people that I'm with that I know. And we knew each other, we knew how we hunted, and we headed on. So that was our blue wildebeest out the way. Got that all skinned off, and then we went after bushbuck and mountain redbuck again. We didn't spot anything that day. So the next morning, we headed to another concession of mine where I had the grounds to hunt red hartebeest, kudu, eland, impala, and this place had genetics for red hartebeest second to none. They were the best that I could find, and we shot a monster of a red hartebeest there. And we got that done early in the morning, and my uncle's property where my grandfather's property was just over the hill. And I phoned my cousin who's running the property at the time. I said, I'm here with my clients just on this side. Can we come over for a springbuck? Because we're after a springbuck for Mike. And we dashed on over, and we managed to get Mike a beautiful springbuck ram in the afternoon. So I was quite chuffed with myself because now we're rolling. The hunts are going. It's the same way that I would hunt with other clients at another company, but this is all for me. So I'm getting my places together and off we go. So now we're done for the day, and we decide that evening we're going to sit in the bush pig blind. So I had two different bait setups with two lots of cameras running. And the week before, I went and sat before the sun set, and I was just glassing with my binos, and I watched the bush pigs come in. I thought, okay, perfect. These bush pigs come in just before, 7:30. This will be perfect. We're on our way back. We're going to drop the trophies off, and when we drop the trophies off, we're actually just going to go sit in the bait thing. So we sit there in the bait station, and the pigs don't come in. And we sit there and we decide, okay, well, we'll draw camera cards tomorrow for the other bait station. I know there are pigs on there, and we'll go sit at that bait if the pigs come in early that side. So the next day we go out hunting, and on our way into the farm, we spot the mountain redbuck, and we shoot a beautiful mountain redbuck with Stan. And then we head to the property where I've got black wildebeest, and we're hunting, and it starts raining and it's muddy and it's the afternoon, and we managed to shoot a beautiful black wildebeest with Stan. So now Stan has shot his blue, his red, and his black, and we're done, and he's got his mountain redbuck in the bag. So with this, we decide that night, we've drawn the cards, we're going to go sit in the opposite bait site now because the pigs are eating there at 8 o'clock. So we go sit in the next bait site, and the damn bush pigs don't come in. So I decide, no, bugger this. We head home, it's late, we've sat until 12:30 in the morning. 2 o'clock we get back to the accommodation, to our accommodation where we're staying. And eventually I said to my brother, I said, man, we need to draw both of those cards and look at these pigs because something's funny here. We can't keep sitting in a bait site and the pigs don't come in, and they're coming in like clockwork. And then we realized that the pigs were coming in early, late. But we still hadn't realized what was actually going on. So the next morning we headed out and we go for looking for bushbuck and warthog. So we took a walk down one of our chop roads in the morning where my brother had shot a beautiful big warthog that the one year, and it comes out to old fields. And as we're walking down there, we see this bushbuck ram come up the valley. And this bushbuck ram goes and stands, and all you can see is his neck, his body. He's pitch black, but I can't see his head. And I'm like, Mark, thump it. You know what I mean? It's a bushbuck for you. And we shoot this damn thing, and I make my first fatal mistake. Never saw its head. The ram had 11-inch horns. He was no trophy, but he was pitch black. And the body was big, and I thought, yes. And we shoot this young bushbuck ram. So I said to Mark, no, don't worry, it's bushbuck ram. Now I can do that type of stuff because I'm hunting on my own property with my dad. It's my bushbuck ram, which I've given to Mark to shoot. So it just goes into my freezer. So I'm not stressed where if I'd shot it with another company, I would have been paying for the ram and getting Mark to shoot another trophy of quality. So I made this mistake, but it didn't affect me the way it would have at another company. So anyway, we got that bushbuck ram shot, no warthogs. We head back up. We go sit again in the bush pig blind. Yes, and nothing comes out. So we decide, no, we'll go after a darker. So we come out of the blind and we went out lamping with a spotlight because darkers are nocturnal, guys. And we managed to spot a really nice darker ram, and Mark shoots himself a darker ram. So he gets the dark out the way, and then he asks me, he says, Wayne, we saw some zebra on that property where we shot the black wildebeest. Can you find out from the farmer if we can shoot a disco donkey? So I said, no problem, but on the phone the farmer. I said, can I go back? Have you got any other hunters coming in? Because you must remember, these properties that we tie up for ourselves to hunt, guys, a lot of the times there are other outfitters that also hunt there. So it's always good to get all of your thing. Yes, I had rights to go and hunt there, but just get hold of the owner and make sure that you're not clashing with someone else. And if there is someone else hunting there and the property is big enough for the two of you to hunt, they also need to just know that you're also there. So it doesn't make sour taste. But that's just me. Other guys operate differently, but this is how I do it. Gave the owner a shout. He said, go ahead, go and shoot a zebra stallion. And we got there. Man, and these disco donkeys gave us a run for our money. But eventually we managed to get a nice setup on them. And Mark with that 338 bowled it over, shot it perfectly in the triangle, and that zebra went down there and we shot a beautiful zebra stallion. So our safari was rolling extremely well with Mark with his springbuck, his zebra, his mountain reedbuck. The bushbuck was my mistake. The bush pigs were giving us a run for our money. But guys, this is hunting, and you got to just keep trying to figure out and stay ahead of the game. We still hadn't seen a trophy warthog for Mark, and Mark was on his list. And we were starting to run out of days. Stan had shot his bucket list of animals that he wanted, and our final day came and we had not got a chance at a warthog. So I said to Mark, yeah, Mark, when you come out again, bud, I will definitely we'll hunt hard for a warthog. So Mark left extremely happy. Stan left extremely happy. Guys headed on back home. And then I went and sat with this damn bush pig footage that kept on driving me nuts. And I phoned Mark the next week. I said, Mark, you won't believe it. I've learned something myself. A bush pig walks miles for food. at night. So we were feeding one end of the property, the bait side was like here, and the other bait side was the opposite end of the property. And we were actually hunting the same group of pigs. And the only way I picked it up was there was a big boar that was eating in the group. And he had a bitten off tail, he had a little stump tail. And we had nicknamed him Stompy. And we realized it was Stompy eating there with his nest of pigs, his sounder. And he was coming along and he was eating here later. And when they were finished eating here late in the evening, they would sleep there that night. So instead of him eating early that side where we're sitting, he'd eat early this side. And they'd vice versa, they'd be doing that. And that's why we couldn't get on the pigs, because the pigs were eating both bait sides. And where they ate last is where they ate first the next day. So he had a good chuckle, and I was like, man, we'll figure it out next time and we'll make sure we get it done. But yeah, all in all, the hunt went extremely well. Mike was back home. He was promoting hard with the stuff that he just hunted here, and he was letting his friends and family know. And we got our first hit on the next group of clients coming out. Mike phoned me and he says, Wayne, we've got our first booking. And I'll never forget the feeling of excitement that come June, our next group of clients are coming in. So I'd had my first hunt in February with Mike, and with doing that, by June, I'd had my next group of clients booked coming out. So super excited. And with this, that having the show that I'd done with Wild Idea Outdoors, they were also booked for after them. So my year was looking extremely good as a first time outfitter. So guys, if you're enjoying these, hit the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next one coming up, where we hunt with our first group of clients. And that is an exciting story to come and be part of, because we had one heck of a trip. So till later guys, cheers.